Hey folks, Dan Bidondi for TruthRadioShow.com. Today is January 1st of 2017, and already stats are coming in on fatal gunshots. And this proves right here how gun control does not work. And legislators are continuing to call for gun control. However, there's proof right here that gun control is not working. Now, with right here, as we always start off with the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois prides itself on one of the strictest gun control states in the country. I think they rank in somewhere in the top 10 of the strictest gun controls. But right here from Fox News, it's also on CNN and all that, so it's not a biased report, that Chicago records 762 homicides in 2016, up 57% from previous year. And if you look at the stats here, I mean, again, all unbiased stats. And the city of Chicago recorded 762 homicides in 2016, an average of 2 murders per day. And that's just homicides. That's not actual shootings, which is over 3,000 shootings. I mean, when you actually go down here, look at the charts and look at all the statistics. And right here, the bulk of deaths and shootings incidents, which jumped from 2,426 in 2015 to 3,550 last year. And right here, you see from the Breitbart here, gun control, Chicago, 358 shooting victims in September alone. And this is obviously a few months ago here. And already they had 3,261 shooting victims in Chicago since January 1st to October 2nd. That was the stats. And again, at the end of the year here, Fox News, CNN, you can look up whatever source you like. But the stats are in Chicago records 762 homicides, over 3,000 shootings in Chicago. But yet, they blame we need more gun control, yeah. And 5 killed. And this is actually of today. I mean, last night when the New Year's Eve celebration to New Year's, 5 were killed, 30 wounded in New Year's Eve weekend Chicago shootings. So this weekend alone, we had 5 killed and 30 wounded already to start off 2017. And it was West Garfield Park neighborhood at 5:53 a.m. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's going to get worse because why? Because they keep putting more and more restrictions on gun control. And there's a stat here. Chicago shootings, January to March alone. I mean, it's staggering. I mean, and you can see the incline. The more gun restrictions, the higher the murder and crime rates go. And again, Chicago, I mean, blasting up there is one of the highest crime and murder rates in the country because of gun control. Even the NRA was talking about the myth of Chicago's lax gun laws because we had legislators in the area here. Chicago Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson recently argued that if we had more gun laws like they do in Chicago and Chicago and Los Angeles, New York have, if we had gun laws in Chicago that LA and New York have, I should have put it that way. Anyway, we would see our violent crimes cut. New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton repeated the remark, declaring that Chicago's problem has to do with gun laws that just don't meet the reality of what's going on the street. So there you have all these people saying more gun laws. Even Dwayne Wade of the Chicago Bulls, his propaganda saying now there are other cities that have way tougher gun laws. We have weak gun laws and we have to do a better job of being leaders. But if you actually read the article, it's actually a myth because Chicago, they have to get a weapons permit. They got bans on assault weapons, bans on different capacity magazines and everything else. It's real hard for a citizen, even though it's a shell-issue state, but still real hard for a citizen to even get a weapons permit. I mean, you can't even buy a gun without a license. So, it shows you gun control does not work. And, again, one more time, Chicago, this is off of WGN as well, and Fox News. Chicago records 762 homicides in 2016, 57% from the previous year. And again, if you look at the stats one more time, and this is stuff that these gun grabbers don't want to show you. This is why, we need more gun control. But, more gun control means more death. These deaths gun control is responsible for these deaths. So you legislators out there use jackasses and Moms Demand Action and all these other liberal libtard groups. When you call for more gun control, you're responsible. You're responsible for these shootings and deaths. Because if you look at the stats, FBI.org, you will see states with minimum or no gun control have the lowest crime and murder rates in the country. So you can argue what you want and try to put, 3,000 people a year are killed by guns, or 30,000 people, but they don't put in that stats how it's most of that percentage is criminals killing people or cops killing people. Very, very small percent of people accidental deaths. So you could throw that 30 plus thousand thing, like the liberals do all the time. 30 plus thousand people die a year from gun control. But again, it's from criminals, and most of that stats to do with states that have gun control. So as you can see, folks, gun control kills. And 2017, we need to set example. We need to go after these gun laws and put a stop to them. Like here in Rhode Island, we've been holding gun laws back for a long time. I've been a big part of that, big responsibility for that. And we've been holding these bills back, going testifying countless hours waiting to testify for our rights that we already have, we should have. And we've been having victories, and now we need to push forward. And again, we have criminals in our own state here. I'm having a hard time renewing my firearm permit, and our state is a shell issue state. All you have to do is qualify in the range, have a clean record, which I do, and you should have a weapon permit. Now I'm having very much resistance getting that, because we know the political BS, because I was a big part of stopping these gun control bills, and I was a big part of stopping mandatory vaccines here in Rhode Island, and one of the only media people that were covering it. So they knew that, so they took it out on me, repercussions by restricting me from my firearms. I mean, I have a whole huge story about that, but this year we're taking the offensive. We're going to go full force, and we're going to actually try to take these restrictions down. And when you see this happen in countries like Texas and everything, when they switched to open carry and all that, the crime rates went down, murder rates went down. And Switzerland, they don't even list crime rate because everybody carries a gun. And who the hell's got to rob somebody when you got an automatic weapon, or assault weapon, slung over your back? Nobody's going to do that. You know what I mean? So these liberals with their "in mothers demand action," they have no common sense at all. They're just dumb. And I'm going to call it how it is, because they are just dumb to think that gun control is going to stop crime, which it doesn't. Because all it does is it takes guns away from people like myself, like you, honest, law-abiding citizens, from defending ourselves when criminals run rampant. And you got two neighborhoods. You got neighborhood A, neighborhood B, of one neighborhood's strict gun control, another one, open carry, constitutional carry. What do you think a criminal's going to go rob houses in? Neighborhood A. Let's say same thing with a bank. You got a bank, the tellers are armed, the people are armed, and they got armed guards there. And you got another bank, strict gun control. Nobody has a gun. Of course, the criminal's got to go into that bank. You know what I mean? It's just common sense. And as a gun owner, nobody wants to shoot anybody. But the thing is, we rather have a gun and not need one versus needing one and not have it. So anyway, folks, it's the Second Amendment, shall not be infringed, and you liberals out there need to understand that. And what part of that you don't understand? I don't know. Anyway, we're fighting for our Second Amendment. 2017 is the year we're going to start bringing the stats down, and we're going to work with people in Chicago and to try to take these restrictions off, regardless what the police. These police officials say we need, or Bill Bratton, or we need stricter gun control laws. Right there, you need to lay off our Constitution, lay off our Second Amendment, Bill of Rights, and we are not going to comply at all. And here in Rhode Island, you people in Rhode Island trying to push gun control, we're coming at you full force this year. And before I know it, we're going to push for constitutional carry. We're going to push for open carry if possible. But anyway, we got a long way to go with that. So we are having major victories, but we need to put the pedal to the metal now and take back our Second Amendment. Because don't think you're the criminal because you're carrying a gun to protect yourself if you don't have a permit. You're not the criminal. The state officials are the criminals. They're using extortion, say you have to pay us or we got to grant you the privilege to have a weapon. No, that's your right to have a weapon. They're the ones who are the criminals. So we need to start taking charge of this, folks. Dan Bidondi, TruthRadioShow.com.